Well, this is the next day. You can see it. It looks, of course, it looks dark, right? Because we're up against the white primer, and then the car itself is extremely faded over time. But if we get the flashlight out, like you can see how the clear coat's all faded, but you can see the metal flake still a little bit. And this stuff, you don't see as much of the metal flake because it's not as transparent, right? It's nice and thick, but it has the right color to it. Looks really rich, looks pretty good. Here's the texture I got in the engine bay. I guess maybe you can see it fine like that. So kind of get a little closer up. This stuff was all smooth, nice metal. Same thing here, the battery tray. It's looking pretty good. And this was the area that we used the reducer in. And then for the interior of the car, we used it with no reducer. And I don't see a huge difference. It is a little rougher. Yeah, it's rougher. So this looks more like just bed liner, right? We didn't add any reducer. We just basically followed the directions to a T. And then the engine bay was, and I think 10%. Yeah, it's 10% reducer, 10 or 15, kind of what they suggested. And yeah, it looks really good. It looks really good for an engine bay. I'm not going to do it on the whole car. So kind of clean it up a little bit. And I had this one mixing cup that I left it in too long and was worried about. I was like, oh, I'll just toss it. And I left the paint in it overnight. It peels off really easy because it's a smooth surface. And it hasn't really had a chance to cure. But what'll be interesting is this whole plug came out as one piece. So I think it's probably... it's not super liquidy in the middle, I don't think. And the bulb, there's that ball bearing that I misplaced right there. I wonder if I can slice that out, get that bearing back. Yep. Okay, so it's not liquid in the middle, but it's sure not cured up. Like you wouldn't want it that thick on your vehicle. Here we go. Now that the old van's got its steering rack in, there's the old one, and then there's the one that needs to go back to UPS whenever that scrapyard tells me to, because they filed a claim. Maybe they'll come along and just say to keep it. That'd be cool. But got a new tube of window weld. My old stuff expired in 2012, so didn't think it would work well at all. And for 30 bucks, 20 bucks, 30 bucks, whatever these cost, do it. And I got another twist wheel. This one's a little bit angled, so I thought that would be good for doing the K-member and the radiator supports and things like that. We can start knocking those out, getting them ready. Because I think once the windshield's in, I've got a new seal coming for the sunroof. It was supposed to be here yesterday, but Postal Service, right? They suck. They always suck and they shouldn't exist. Anyway, get the windshield in. I can always tape plastic over the top if it's going to rain, but we can get this out of the garage and start hitting those big pieces and painting them, and then get the car up in here and start getting its engine out. That's kind of my main concern is, I think the right way then, because if the interior gets wet now, it doesn't matter, right? It's all sealed up, everything's good. I still don't want it to turn into a swimming pool for whatever reason, so maybe I'll grab the hood out of the shed as well, so we can set that thing down. It's windy out here, so I'll have to tie it or something, but we can at least bolt that in and keep water from getting shoved through all the firewall holes in the interior. So probably I'll switch the door handles out too. So that'll be goals for today. Windshield goes in, door handles go on, and get the hood just bolted down but not aligned so that we can put the thing in the driveway for a while. Oh boy, this is getting overgrown. To figure out a way to stomp some of these down. I don't know what kind of plant that is. I don't know what's growing on the top of it. Probably just some kind of flower. I don't know. Oh, and there's a big old bumblebee. Moment of truth, see if anything found its way in here and started eating and living on all my car parts. Nope, looks good. A couple spiders. That's about it. It doesn't stink. That means my replacement thing's still sealed. So I think the hood and the windshield are both right here. Yeah, so there's the hood with the windshield behind it. So we'll slide that windshield out, get it up in the garage, do all that work, and then we'll come back and get the hood. Cleaning up the table, and there's a shark. So we're going to keep him. See? Shark. Yay. That's funny though. Okay, so here's the windshield we took out. You can see there's still urethane stuck to it, and like this seal's not really glued in anymore. It'd be nice to take the whole thing out, but I think when we do, like some of these corners are already cracked and they're going to crack forever. Like we'd need to get a new piece, and I don't want to get a new piece. So we're going to just put it back in. We're going to make sure any high spots are torn out of here, and we'll make sure to get glue up inside it. But yeah, we're not going to be too anal. Like right here, we can pull this. So I can pull a lot of this urethane off and leave it in place. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe we'll end up needing to buy a new one. I mean, we're cracked on the edge. So this, I mean, this isn't what actually seals though. The urethane's what seals. This tray just holds the trim pieces in on the outside, which we can kind of glue those in place too. So if we get the bulk of the urethane off, we'll be in business. So not a perfect reference, but like this is one of the thicker pieces I was able to pull out, and then there's, you know, some of the areas it was thinner, but that's because the way we cut it, you know, we cut through the urethane and peeled it off this part too, so there's equally thick stuff on this side. So we're looking at probably a quarter inch, 3/16 maybe thickness of the material of the urethane once we put it in. And then since I'm reusing this old one, what I'm probably going to do is run a bead along this joint, right, like it normally would. It's not going to take that whole tube to put this windshield in if I just did this side. So then I'll go back over and I'll try to run a bead along this inside seam, especially in areas like this where there's a seam and you know, things have been kind of sketchy. So we'll try to clean that out so there's no dirt in it and things like that. And then up here, same thing. There's a crack and it comes through. So if this didn't, you know, if this left a passage, that could just leak right down into the car. Maybe it was already, I don't know. This could have been leaking from a lot of areas. So yeah, so far I've got enough pieces cut off that we're good to put it in. I just need to clean up the windshield side. I cleaned up that side. Time to clean this one up, make sure we're not going to have dirt and holes in it that'll leak water. And then we'll go ahead and put this thing in. Okay, I remember to get the tripod out. Got my window weld. I just need to pop. I cut the top. Was quickly reminded after touching it that this urethane will get on everything, and it's near impossible. Like it just sticks, and it sucks to clean off. So wear gloves. Don't be a dummy like me and start without them. Yeah. Started, so I'm going to start on the top and just run my way all the way around, and then I'll have to go over and do the windshield with any extra that's left over, just for peace of mind. Yeah, the camera said I had to repair a file, so we'll do this as a backup. Probably include it anyway, but here's my mediocre, squishy, weird looking seam. Yeah, everything gets covered by trim, so it can squish out funny, but 100% coverage. Try to get more along the bottom than, well, don't worry about that. Anyway, so we got a little more than half a tube on there, and then I did a thinner bead right along the inside edge of the old urethane, especially down here where it wasn't fully attached, just to make sure. And like there's a seam, so I put extra on that. There's a seam crack up there, extra on that. So hopefully what's going to happen here is the bead on the car will contact this bead on the windshield. They'll all squish together, and we'll have a perfect seal, even with our old windshield and old framing that goes around it. So get this back on the tripod, set this thing in place. Still got easily 5 or 6 minutes of working time. It probably only took me 5 minutes to spread all this, not even. I just gotta be careful because whenever I move this in the tripod, it makes bad audio. Okay, moment of truth. I'm not really sure the best way to go about this when you're by yourself. Probably just get it as centered as possible and tip it up in. And check this out. So the new wheel came with an adapter, so you can put it on, I don't know what, something else, but it's kind of neat. It's M10 by 1 1/4 to 5/8 11. So not sure what uses 5/8 11, maybe a smaller wheel or something, but yeah, it's kind of cool. It'd be nice to have around eventually. I was getting door handle stuff around, right, and I'm apparently missing one of these. It probably exists somewhere. Maybe there's a handle I set down and it's screwed back into it. But I need machine screws for this side of the handle, right? It's the whole point of having this style is it's bolted in 2 spots and it's not all flexy and weird. And I went over here, and that piece of, this is the stuff, right? The Raptor liner that we painted the car with. And I pulled this out of the thing and it was rubbery and squishy. Look what it did to this plastic. Like, oh my God. So like this was, well, essentially dry. Like I could push my finger on it, it didn't stick to me. It felt just like it does now. And it melted this stuff. Did something weird to it. That's it. Like, that's so weird. I wonder what caused that reaction, but either way, I got this big puck of Raptor liner material. I'm not really sure what to do with it. Now I'm afraid to set it on stuff. So I don't know where it's gonna put it. Over here by our burn mark, maybe. Shouldn't do anything to wood, it just reacted with that plastic. That's super interesting. So, I don't remember leaving off anywhere in particular. Obviously, got this stuff done. My sunroof seal finally came in. It's up there on the corner. So we'll get the sunroof in this thing, get it back out in the driveway. Because I got some stuff. It's working. Once I started using this as a tool box, I decided that I just need the garage space. So I got 2 bikes from the wife's dad that he wants to sell, and I get quite a hefty commission on them. So we're gonna hit those today, get this out of the way, try to get the hood on this, I think, before the end of the night. Just it won't be a priority in the beginning. So I got a new battery for each bike and a boatload of fluids. So we'll jump in on that. It's the mower. I gotta sell the mower, and then I'm keeping the quad because why wouldn't I? But that thing doesn't need anything, so I'm just gonna get it out of the road and see if someone will buy it. It'd be hilarious if it's sold today, but we'll find out. Oh, and these too. So he threw these in, so now I have a motorcycle lift and a 2-wheel like ATV style lift as well. So collecting all kinds of fun stuff. 10 free gallons of gas that's only 2 weeks old, but more importantly is the old style with the vent, so I can get rid of my other cans that I hate and use these instead. I'm trying to remember which, well, I do remember. So the seam was on the passenger side, right at the edge. It seems kind of odd to me. It seems like you'd want the seam up here where we're putting that sealant in with this stuff, but I'm just going to put it where it was before. There we go. They give you a little extra. These tabs just pop off and just pop them back in on top. Yeah, so in all the way around, and this guy just needs to be cut so that it's flush. It looks like you can probably just mark it, and this does have a metal, right? You can see that's what pinches it, so we'll need to use, I'll just use a hacksaw, should be fine. It's pretty thin material. Yeah, I'm gonna pop that last piece down. We'll get it reinstalled even though it's kind of broken, right? And hopefully it'll seal up. I don't think, like looking at this, I mean, we're sealing this edge to this edge, or well, it's then this one, right? So having that tray in place, I don't think we need a sealant in there. More importantly, we're just not going to put a sealant in it now for sure. If we find out we do need it, we can add it back in, but I think I'm going to want to take this seal off when we paint the panel so that it has good coverage, and then the seal goes over the new paint. So then we can determine that later. It's be fun to try to remember how it all goes together, right? These springs just go in here, and then they slide in from the side. I think we can do this after the fact. So these guys hang on somewhere. I think they're just here. No? Yeah. It doesn't seem right. It'll make more sense when I get it in there, I think. Oh, no, this, so 2 and then 2. It goes over these standoffs, right? Because this adjusts the height. once it's clamped down. So these go here and they slide into the rail. Okay, so we remember where those go. This guy is broken. Him and his buddy each get a plate like that, if I remember right. So we can slip that in afterwards. We just want to put this in place and make sure the broken piece is in the rail so it can be somewhat operational. So here's the little broken part, and this is part still attached and it's going to move back and forth. So without getting wild and trying to glue it or anything, if it's just kind of where it's supposed to be, maybe they'll travel together and hang out. We do want them, well, it's adjustable, right? So we'll get the top in, and then we'll use that to line up where it should be, and then we can bolt everything else together. But I think we just set it in place and then slide it all where it's supposed to be from the inside. We got it in place. The seal's nice and tight. It's a little crooked right now, but it's not bolted to anything. So I think let's do this guy first. I think we get them all in close, but not super tight, right? So just, oh, hey buddy. Oh, way up here. I'm not even looking in the right spot. Well, this guy should clamp on that rail and then just screw in. So I'll do that. We'll get it close and get the next one. Okay, so the one's in the back. Oh, the front one's in finger tight. The back one, right, needs to make sure that it's up above this thing, right? It can swivel around backwards. And there we go. That sits too low. It needs to be up. Come on. Don't break it, obviously. It needs to be up like that. And then your shim, there's a rail. See that rail back in there? I don't know if I can do this with two hands. So this goes above that, and then goes into that rail. Let me put it in and then I'll just show it. Okay, there it is. So you can see the shim is underneath, and two bolts go in, and your spring in the thing goes into this hole, under that, and then over this plastic roller. I'm not sure how important it was for me to do the same thing on the other side since that one's not really attached, but even with it finger tight, looks like, yeah, it's going to push it. It says all the way forward, it'll push it up. The other side's a little low because it doesn't have anything to actually push it up. So I think we get all our bolts tight now that we're even left to right, because these guys slide, right? You want those tight so you don't wiggle around. So yeah, we'll push those out, tighten all the screws up, and see how it works. Well, I'm guessing that I can't get this lined up properly inside there. It doesn't want to shut all the way. I think it'll keep enough rain out that we'll be fine, because it doesn't operate right anymore. So I don't know if that was broken in the past or if I somehow broke it while I was trying to take it apart. It's possible. It's all brittle plastic, so I'll have to see if I can get new pieces. But at least I can get it out in the driveway and not worry too much about it. So that was the goal. Then we'll have space here to work on the bikes and get those sold, which will get us more money to buy more fun stuff for the car in the future.